I'm generally interested in the relationship between the brain and technology, especially when it comes to the idea of man-made products trying to imitate the organic brain. So, I came across this concept of computational neuroscience. Intrigued by these brain chips and these brain hats, I googled the word computational neuroscience, then clicked on the first result, which was Wikipedia page about computational neuroscience. The page said computational neuroscience, also known as theoretical neuroscience or mathematical neuroscience, is a branch of neuroscience which employs mathematical models and wait. I need to actually understand what do they mean by mathematical models and how do they use that with the brain exactly. So, because I felt like this should never slide that easily, I decided to look into the internet about what is actually a mathematical model exactly, and I found some cool pictures. Then I was like, okay, I gotta know what is a mathematical a mathematical model is. So I clicked on the Harvard University's definition of the word because I got sick of Wikipedia, to be honest, and it got me into a course enrollment page, which wasn't the thing I was looking for. But I said to myself, what if I took the course? Would it hurt? And if it would hurt, holy god. So I decided to take a U-turn and look for another source to read about these cool shapes without clicking on Wikipedia page again, because I might get bored while reading in Wikipedia. So why not just click on the websites that provides these nice pictures? I know this picture makes your eyes go left and right, but for some reason my attention is more drawn towards this one. And both pictures were for an art shop. So I decided to look at a less cooler picture. And we can see in this cycle that things start from a real world problem, then they try to simplify it into a working model. Then they present that working model into a mathematical model. Now that's how we use a mathematical model. Finally, we know a mathematical model is used to represent a working model. What is a working model? I'm not interested enough to look into it, to be honest. But now I have a better idea of what is a mathematical model. So this mathematical model that represents a working model get translated into computational model. What is a computational model? I cannot care less either. This computational model got simulated into result and conclusion, which interprets real world problems. I guess this cycle is used for experiments. I believe so. Now, I think I should go back to my baby combo neuroscience Wikipedia page, okay? Now, according to this Wikipedia page, computational neuroscience relies on mathematical models and the next thing is computer simulations. Computer simulation is the process of mathematical modeling. If you remember that cycle, that was one of the steps. You use a mathematical model to translate it into computational model. Alright? Cool, I guess. Now, computational neuroscience relies on mathematical models and computer simulation. Then there is a branch that this science relies on. It relies on theoretical analysis. It is basically analyzing things using the thoughts of your head. Then the fourth branch that computational neuroscience relies on is abstractions of the brain. So we have mathematical models, there we got computer simulation and theoretical analysis. Then lastly, but not last, abstractions of the brain, which is drawing ideas about what you think the brain is, or highlighting a particular thing about the brain. So you imagine the brain is looking like this or that, and you just illustrate it visually. So these are the four legs, okay, for the table of computational neuroscience, which is understanding the principles that govern the development, structure, physiology, cognitive abilities of the nervous system. So if you want to understand how the nervous system develops and what does the nervous system structure look like and how does the physiology of the nervous system function and what are the cognitive abilities of the nervous system, what can the nervous system actually do, you have to go to computational neuroscience. So computational neuroscience relies on four branches to understand four concepts. Then the Wikipedia page say computational neuroscience focuses on the description of biology, the description of biologically plausible neurons and neural systems, and their physiology and dynamics, and it is therefore not directly concerned with biologically unrealistic models. so they are staying real. That's what I'm understanding. There is something interesting here. This Wikipedia page say that biologically unrealistic models, which are connectionism, control theory, cybernetics, quantitative physiology, machine learning, artificial neural networks, artificial intelligence, computational learning theory, all these things sound a lot cooler than computational neuroscience. Sorry, but Mother Nature be boring sometimes. I think the coolest one out of them, just judging by the name, is like cybernetics. It's so cool. While reading this, I felt overwhelmed because it feels so general and not straightforward to the point enough with these confusing pictures, input, output. However, I found a singular line that defines cybernetics. God, it's such a cool name. It defines it in a really simple way, but at least personally I understand. Cybernetics is concerned with circular, casual processes, however they are embodied. Usage of the word casual is weird, but whatever. Therefore, it is a scientific field dedicated to study loops, circular loops to be more specific. Cool. My thoughts until now about cybernetics is that they could have chosen a less interesting name. The word cyber is very flashy, so my expectations were very high when I first read cybernetics. But maybe I should give it a chance. And instead of reading the rest of the page, I took a long tea break. I started to think, why am I in the cybernetics page from the first place? An immense urge possessed my soul to go back to computational neuroscience Wikipedia page. And so I obeyed these inner thoughts. I decided to go to the major topics of computational neuroscience. And oh boy, did I find one gem of a topic. Consciousness. One of the ultimate goals of psychology/neuroscience is to be able to explain the everyday experience of conscious life. So like, that is their end and beyond goal. However, a guy called Crick, I believe, said neuroscience should not approach topics that are traditionally left for philosophy and religion. Okay. So, we have some drama here because there is a debate. On one side, we got neuroscientists who try to explain the human experience of consciousness by studying the neurons of the brain. But on the other side, ones who think that consciousness can only be explained via faith or religion or philosophy. Now, I'm interested to know more about this discussion. It seems like an ideological warfare mess. You got the religious crowd, then the philosophers, then the neuroscientists, and there could be even more people joining this war. This guy's take on this topic hooked my attention because it was from a biologist who should be on the side of neuroscientists. But nonetheless, he dared to say that philosophy and religion are the ones who handle the explanation of consciousness. Seems pretty odd. I searched for his name with words like consciousness, philosophy, religion, and I struggled to find a direct quote about him betraying his own team. I was like, why don't I just go back to Wikipedia and let them tell me where did they took that quote from? So I did, even though trying to navigate through all that was a nightmare. Where should I click? I clicked on them all and ended up here. A paper written by the man himself about consciousness and neuroscience. Let's start reading it, shall we? When all is said and done, more is said than done. So true, Anon. So true. The main purposes for this review are to set out for neuroscientists one possible approach to the problem of consciousness and to describe the relevant ongoing experimental work. We have not attempted an exhaustive review of other approaches, and I believe the other approaches he's referring to are philosophy and religion. And the one approach that is, he's trying to set out for neuroscientists is the approach of actually just studying the neurons, which is still odd because when you go back to the quote in Wikipedia, it seems like he is siding with philosophers and the people of religions, and instead of siding with people who are biologists or neuroscientists. So things are confusing so far, unless if the quote on Wikipedia was not that accurate. Clearing the ground. So this is where the writer will give us some disclaimers before we go to the nitty-gritty. We assume that when people talk about quote-unquote consciousness, there is something to be explained. While most neuroscientists acknowledge that consciousness exists and that at present it is something of a mystery, most of them do not attempt to study it, mainly for one of the two reasons. First reason for why neuroscientists are not studying consciousness, they consider it to be a philosophical problem, so best left to philosophers. And the second reason why some neuroscientists, or all of them, do not study consciousness is that they concede that it is a scientific problem, so they believe that it's not for philosophers to define what is a consciousness, but they think it is premature to study it now. Means they don't think they do have well-developed technology to study this, They don't have reliable resources, whether it is intellectual resources or material resources, like tools and as such. We have taken exactly the opposite point of view. We think that most of the philosophical aspects of the problem should, for the moment, be left on one side, and that the time to start the scientific attack is now. Let's go! My boy is wasting no time. He wants to get into the nitty-gritty real fast. So I will end this video here. I will do the scientific attack on the experience of consciousness in the next video. Bye.